This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 8th day of September in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here is what we're tracking tonight. Acting Police Commissioner Nigel Hoppy has announced that 7 persons are now in custody in connection with the murder of cousins Joel and Isaiah Henry at Cotton Tree on the west coast of Berbice. During a statement today, the police commissioner said investigators are still on the ground in West Coast Berbice, aggressively probing the incident. The top cop has also revealed that the post-mortem examination on the bodies of the 2 teenagers will be done tomorrow. He offered no other detail on the status of the investigations.
7 persons were arrested and remain in custody. Investigations are still on the ground. Investigators are still on the ground, aggressively conducting their work. Post-mortem examination is expected to be conducted on Wednesday, the 9th of September, which is tomorrow's day. As of last night, the roads on the west coast Berbice were stretching from number 3 village to Litchfield remain blocked, and in some instances were reblocked, having been cleared. Arising out of this development, the heads of the joint services met and were briefed. As a result, troops from the Guyana Defense Force were deployed on today's date, the 8th of September 2020, in support of police ranks on the ground.
Mr. Hoppy made a plea to villagers who have been continuously blocking the roadways along the West Berbice coast to desist from doing so, since the situation could affect the work of the police officers who have to be underground investigating the double murder.
The Guyana Police Force takes this opportunity to warn residents to desist from blocking the road as it is illegal and will stymie the work of the police. We urge that you work with us as we continue to strengthen our relationship with the community.
Of the 7 suspects in custody, 3 of them are believed to be related. A businessman, his son, and the handyman were the first to be arrested, with 2 other arrests being made late yesterday, and the other arrest taking place early this morning. Investigators from the Major Crimes Unit and the Criminal Investigations Department of the Guyana Police Force are leading the probe. The badly mutilated and slashed bodies of the Henry cousins were discovered on Sunday afternoon in the back dam of Cotton Tree. In addition to the slashes to their necks and markings on their faces and other parts of the bodies, the 2 teens also suffered from broken limbs, and their fingers appear to have also been broken. Sources close to the investigations have told News Source that it appears as though the teens were badly tortured before being brutally murdered. Shocked and saddened family members of the 2 teenagers have been crying out for justice.
This is not about all these things here for me, but this is for justice because of my son, innocent life that go in the back down. They could have considered these 2 youth, young youth. They could have considered these youth get family. They could have considered they get friend, maybe girlfriend or boyfriend, girlfriend, maybe people that could have responded. They could have beaten them or injured them, carry them, punish them, carry them at the station. That is the right thing they should have done.
The double murder has led to widespread protests in several villages along the west coast of Berbice and in some parts of the east coast of Demerara. Joint services ranks have been dispatched to those areas in an effort to clear debris from the roadways. More on that when we return in just a bit.
Guyana, we've been through it all.
But as a people we have
Weathered every storm.
And risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
That gives it its strength.
all the people,
regardless of race,
class or religion.
we are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Falls, the official distributors of Castrol Marine, Mining and Power Gen lubricants in Guyana, now has in stock CRB engine oils, high-spin hydraulic oil, Vecton semi-synthetic truck oils, and Sultex cylinder oils. For the best prices, check our dealers countrywide or visit Falls Gas Station at Land of Canaan, East Bank, Demerara, or call the commercial manager on 608-4998. Castrol, it's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
For all the Zoom hashouts and recipe tryouts, the world changed and we were right there. standing with you, always near, getting closer in so many ways, laughing together as we face these days. And because we are Caribbean, we've got a special insight that tells us there's no need to worry, world. We'll be all right.
Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
We all know a strong educational foundation is a key to successful learning. Global Technology combines award-winning curriculum with innovative technology and teacher support to help students reach their potential. Our online platform creates an engaging learning experience. Using any device, you can be a part of amazing class discussions, collaborate with others, and have access to virtual learning software. With our multiple payment methods, you will never have to leave home. Find out how Global Technology can allow you to learn anything, anywhere, at any time.
Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Welcome back. Crime Chief Wendell Blanham has disclosed that 3 additional persons are being sought for questioning into the double murder of West Berbice teens Isaiah and Joel Henry. During an afternoon press conference, Mr. Blanham stated that the 3 additional suspects are from the same West Berbice area, but the protest action, which has resulted in streets being blocked, has been hampering investigators to move around in search of the suspects.
Investigators are pursuing 3 other individuals. The information that we receive, we're trying our utmost to locate these individuals. However, because of the prevailing circumstances, our efforts have been stymied to some extent. So I want to take this opportunity also to ask persons not to obstruct the investigators. We had some difficulties from the initial investigation when we were making attempts to visit the crime scene. Also the major crimes investigators, they were obstructed from going to that area. We had the crime scene ranks on their way back to Georgetown yesterday. They were stuck in Berbice overnight, and these are some of the difficulties that we are confronted with in terms of conducting our investigation in an expeditious manner.
As we reported earlier, 7 persons are already in custody being questioned about the double murder. Mr. Blanham revealed that of the 7 suspects in custody, 2 are coconut vendors and 3 work for the businessman who was first arrested. That businessman, who is a farmer, and his son round out the 7 suspects who are in custody. Blanham did not want to offer additional details about the probe, but he indicated that samples and evidence have been collected for forensic analysis. The crime chief said it is important for the police investigators to be allowed to do their work so that they can get to the bottom of the gruesome killings. The murder of the cousins has rocked the entire country, with calls for justice spreading from coast to coast. The 2 young men were last seen alive on Saturday when they ventured into the back dam to pick coconuts. Their mutilated bodies with slashes to the neck and broken bones were found on Sunday afternoon. While members of the joint services were forced to form a protective circle around Prime Minister Mark Phillips, Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben, and Human Services Minister Dr. Vinny Prasad, as angry protesters on the west coast of Berbice blocked and confronted them during a visit this afternoon. The three were blocked by the protesters who demanded justice over the murder of teenagers Joel and Isaiah Henry.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't
In another area along the west coast of Berbice, Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben begged for calm and for good sense to prevail as he promised that a thorough and complete investigation will be done.
We cannot pile crime on crime. We have, as leaders of the government and as parliamentarians, to ensure that the matter is resolved without fear or favor. But we cannot allow a situation which will have continued law breaking and the piling on of lawlessness and crime.
Some of the protesters said the situation in the West Berbice area has been simmering for years.
Have been incited by Mr. Barjagio on a subliminal level. We are not
No, we ain't stupid. You see, get you out of there. If finally we do good. If finally we do good, get Jagio out of there. That's right. Jagio going for revenge.
All right, wait. Yeah, but what is your action plan to move forward in terms of creating a process of healing?
The Prime Minister said the time is now for healing to begin across the country.
I got Indian nieces, nephews. You know what I'm saying? And it is obnoxious to see that instead of condemning openly these acts that are being systematically done to the Afro nation, that they in turn retaliate with violence against us, as to show that we have no right to even retaliate against the atrocities that's been committed against us. That's what you say. We have no right to even say or retaliate against it.
The protesters said they are still hurting from the gruesome killings and would like other communities across the country to understand their hurt. As anger continues over the brutal killing of West Berbice teenagers Joel and Isaiah Henry, protests calling for justice have been spreading to a number of villages and in some instances have become violent. The Guyana Police Force reported this afternoon that trucks were set on fire in the Hopetown area and other vehicles were damaged during roadblocks and protests. There were also reports of persons being attacked during the protests. One man complained that he was badly beaten and robbed of his cell phone and other belongings in the Hopetown area. The police are probing that report. Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben, in a statement this afternoon, said there have been repeated incidents of motorists being attacked and their vehicles being damaged in a number of areas. He called for peace.
I continue to urge the Guyana Police Force and all law-abiding persons in the area and beyond to lend support and to execute the task of restoring order to the area so that commuters are safe and that normal activities could be conducted in safety.
The Home Affairs Minister also said as the protests continue and as efforts continue to bring calm to the West Berbice area, he would like persons with influence to assist in ensuring normalcy and calm return to the communities as the investigations into the double murder continue.
I want to call on those persons to lend their efforts, to have those persons and communities with whom they have influence to desist from unlawful practices related to these events.
The Guyana Police Force announced this morning that its ranks underground were being joined by the Guyana Defense Force in the efforts to clear the main roadways which were blocked by protesting villagers. Last evening, the police used tear gas and pellets to force protesters to retreat. Family members of the two teenagers have been calling for peaceful protests, but the situation in a number of West Berbice villages have become concerning as roads were repeatedly blocked, even as the Guyana Defense Force joined the police in the efforts to clear the roadways. Well, in Georgetown today, with chants of Black Lives Matter and the call for justice, hundreds of persons gathered at a coffee square to express their concern over the brutal murder of the West Berbice teenagers and another man who was recently knifed to death under quarantine. With the midday sun beaming at its brightest, some broke down in tears as they expressed their hurt over the recent killings. Many of the protesters said justice must be served in the two incidents.
When the news broke, in my house, it sent shockwaves through my house. My wife began to cry, and that moved me significantly as I thought about our response as Christian leaders. We have been praying. As a matter of fact, we have anticipated this activity. We have anticipated the time will come when there will be a strong uprising in the nation on this very theme.
The murders of the Henry boys is definitely beyond our imagination. It's something that we would only imagine from the stories our grandparents would have been telling us. And so I think we should be out here. It's important to be out here today to send a strong message that, one, we do not accept this type of display. Two, justice is definitely needed. And we're going to band together, we're going to stand together to ensure that it happens.
Many of the protesters are parents, and they said the incident in West Berbice has badly affected them and has left them having conversations with their own children about the situation.
I want parents, whether you're Indian, indigenous or whatsoever, wherever race you're from, just come out and support this. Today for Isaiah and Joel, tomorrow it could be anybody else. And as an aunt, because I have nephews, and I would adopt other people's sons as nephews. It pains my heart to see these young men has been murdered like that, brutally murdered. And to come it off to put an X in the head, it was premeditated. We need justice for this.
Meanwhile, chairperson of the People's National Congress Reform, Valda Lawrence, was also at the coffee square today, and she said it is important to stand on the side of the family of the murdered teens and support their call for justice.
There are a lot of allegations out there, and that's why we need to have transparency in this investigation. It cannot be that the police are claiming that they're doing their work, but they're not speaking to the public. We heard that they held several persons, but unlike in other instances where you would see the names or even the photographs of those persons who were held, we're not seeing that in this instance. And so it is lending, all of this silence, all of this is lending itself to people losing faith in the police investigation.
Ms. Lawrence also said she believes the police force needs to be much clearer with information on the double murder and the state of the investigations.
The people want to know what the police is doing. Nobody's responding to them. And so that lends to the feelings that there is a cover-up in terms of this investigation. The message out here is to send to all those persons who are involved that all we need is justice, we need transparency, and we are saying that this must not happen again.
Many of those who gathered at the coffee square where a Black Lives Matter mural was recently painted indicated that they wanted their voices heard, and for the family of the murdered boys to understand that their support stretches beyond the villages on the West Berbice coast. The APNU-AFC coalition indicated this afternoon that they will not be a part of tomorrow's sitting for the budget presentation, since they see it as a national day of mourning for the two teenagers who were brutally murdered in Berbice. In a statement, the APNU-AFC said it is imperative and paramount that leaders be with the people who are hurting and in anguish and who are in need of support, solidarity, and comfort at this time. The APNU-AFC coalition said its members of parliament will be with the people tomorrow and as a result will not be attendance at parliament for the budget presentation. Turning now to the energy sector, the government of Guyana and the ExxonMobil company today announced Exxon's 18th oil discovery in Guyana. The latest discovery will add to the estimated recoverable resource of more than 8 billion oil equivalent barrels on the Stabroek Block. In a statement, Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat said the government welcomes the latest discovery, adding that the government remains committed to the development of the country's oil and gas resources.
The government of Guyana is committed to ensuring Guyanese benefits from this sector. This has been demonstrated in President Ali's appointment of the local content panel. The panel has already commenced work in this regard and will soon be holding consultations and workshops with the relevant stakeholders with the intention of drafting a policy document and eventually the local content legislative framework.
The Red Hill discovery is in addition to the Liza 1 well, which is in production and has already yielded almost $150 million from the 3 completed lifts for Guyana, with a 4th lift scheduled for later this year. The Liza 2 well is expected to start production in early 2022. With the development of the Payara oil project expected to move into the next phase soon, as negotiations and approval appear to be nearing an end, Guyana's oil production is likely to experience even more significant growth.
The Red Tail discovery is in addition to the Liza 1 well, which is in production and has already yielded almost $150 million from the 3 completed lifts, with the 4th lift scheduled for later this year. The Liza 2 well is expected to start production early 2022 from the Liza Unity floating production and offloading vessel FPSO, with a capacity to produce up to 220,000 barrels of oil per day. Additionally, and once approved, Payara will follow Liza 1 and Liza 2, with Prosperity FPSO also producing 220,000 barrels of oil per day.
While all discoveries in Guyana date back to 2015, the country officially started oil production in December of last year. Turning our attention now to the courts, the husband and wife, who are already facing 66 charges in the courts for conspiracy to commit a felony in relation to their operation of an unlicensed financial trading company, will be back in court tomorrow to face additional charges. Cuban national Yuri Garcia and his Guyanese wife Atika Ishmael will appear at a Georgetown Magistrates Court tomorrow to face 6 additional charges. When they make that appearance, it will mark the 5th time in 2 weeks that they have found themselves facing new charges in the courts. The couple's attorney, Dexter Todd, has been complaining about the charges being filed against the couple every other day rather than all at once. He is contending that it is a deliberate tactic by the prosecutor to frustrate the efforts to secure bail. Just yesterday, the couple appeared before Magistrate Fabio Azor at the Vigilance Magistrates Court via Skype to face 14 charges. During that appearance, the court was told that it is alleged that between May and July of this year, with the intent to commit a felony, the couple conspired with persons known and unknown to obtain a total sum of over $9 million from 14 victims on the false pretense. They were granted bail in the sum of $800,000 each in relation to those charges. The week before, the couple made 3 appearances before magistrates in the Georgetown and East Coast areas. In one of the cases, they were accused of swindling over $75 million from 11 victims. The charges were triggered by a multi-agency probe initiated by the Attorney General Anil Nandlal, who claims that he had received hundreds of reports about the couple operating a suspected Ponzi scheme. The Attorney General says several persons complained about investing millions of dollars with the hope of getting back 3 times the amount of their investment, but in some cases that never materialized. The couple has repeatedly denied the allegations of being involved in any Ponzi scheme. Across the Region is coming up next. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc.
We all know a strong educational foundation is a key to successful learning. Global Technology combines award-winning curriculum with innovative technology and teacher support to help students reach their potential. Our online platform creates an engaging learning experience. Using any device, you can be a part of amazing class discussions, collaborate with others, and have access to virtual learning software. With our multiple payment methods, you will never have to leave home. Find out how Global Technology can allow you to learn anything, anywhere, at any time.
Falls, the official distributors of Castrol Marine, Mining and Power Gen lubricants in Guyana, now has in stock CRB engine oils, high-spin hydraulic oil, Vecton semi-synthetic truck oils, and Sultex cylinder oils. For the best prices, check our dealers countrywide or visit Falls Gas Station at Land of Canaan, East Bank, Demerara, or call the commercial manager on 608-4998. Castrol, it's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right, walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong, be the one to live right.
Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Across the region right now, the leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, Andrew Holness, has been sworn in for a second consecutive term as the Prime Minister of Jamaica, and he is promising to work diligently on behalf of all Jamaicans. This marks Holness's second consecutive term, but his third time serving in the capacity of Prime Minister. The ceremony was held following last Thursday's general election, in which his party, the JLP, won 48 seats in the 63-member parliament. Shortly after receiving the instrument of appointment from the Governor General, the Prime Minister stressed that there is no honeymoon period for his government.
I am humbled and honored that the people of Jamaica have seen it fit to give me an opportunity to once more be the chief steward of their affairs. Thank you for your vote and support. And I commit once again to use every fiber of my being and all the energy of my spirit for the advancement, fulfillment, and prosperity of the people of Jamaica.
Prime Minister Holness has reiterated his government's commitment to be accountable, saying that it will be tough on corruption, and he also warned that available resources would be used for the intended purpose to better the country, but should never be found being used to create an unfair advantage for others. He said his administration will move with alacrity to strengthen the anti-corruption framework to include a major organized crime and anti-corruption agency. A judge in Bolivia has upheld a decision by the Electoral Tribunal barring former President Evo Morales from running for the Senate. Mr. Morales wanted to stand as a candidate for the Senate in the Central Region, but the tribunal ruled in February that he did not fulfill the requirement of having resided in the region for the 2 years leading up to the poll. Mr. Morales left Bolivia in November and is currently living in Argentina. In February, the Supreme Electoral Tribunal disqualified him, saying that he did not meet residency requirements because he was living in Argentina. Mr. Morales appealed that decision, arguing that he was still officially registered in the area of Cochabamba, and he was not living in Argentina out of choice, but out of concern for his safety. And finally, at this time, international news. 9 vaccine developers have announced a historic pledge to uphold scientific and ethical standards in the search for a coronavirus vaccine. The firms, including Pfizer and Merck, said they would only apply for regulatory approval after vaccines went through 3 phases of clinical study. It comes amid global debates about the safety of vaccines made this year. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he wants one available in the U.S. before November's election. No vaccine has yet completed clinical trials, according to the World Health Organization, leading some scientists to fear the search for a vaccine is being politicized and public trust could be damaged. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.